What is up, guys? Jake O here with part two of the story of my life. And today I'll be covering everything from the age of 18 until now. To clarify, my dogs are very important to me. And if you watch the entire video, you would see at the end of part one of me spending time with my dogs. But while I'm recording video, I prefer them not to be on top of me because I'm trying to pay attention and speak with you guys. Right now they're outside and I'll pause and get them in later on. But I want to cover a little bit about, after graduating high school, going to college, meeting people and going through that. So once when I was in high school and early college, I worked at 3 jobs. I had 3 jobs in my life. I worked at Albertsons first for about a year, and then they closed down. Then I worked at Applebee's for about a year, and then I quit. And then I worked at a bagel shop called Brooklyn Bagels for about a month and a half, and I got fired. Did I do anything wrong? No, I didn't do anything wrong. They just told me they felt I didn't fit in. So that was that, and I just felt really weird about it and felt overqualified for it. I studied 4 years of computers in high school. I studied computers in college, so I might have to bring the dogs in. So I felt very offended when I was quote unquote laid off or fired. So it was very hard on me. A little bit after that, I started wanting to get into personal training. I then started training people for free for reviews for a website that I was building. I trained guys, stop. I'm gonna have to bring them in if they keep barking. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible around here. And so before that, I had a girlfriend. I think we dated for 11 months. She was much younger than I was. I was 18 and I believe she was 15. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, ew, that's disgusting. But at that time, her mother gave consent, she gave consent, and it was what it was. Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you don't act mature for your age. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had to bring in my dogs in. So back to the story. I was with this girl for quite a while, and things just didn't work out. We ended up going on a break and never, started to date again. I think one of the reasons, and this is back to the story with the training, I started doing free training, and somebody who I was training happened to be a gay gentleman and gave me the idea of becoming a webcam model, which at first I was very much against. I talked to my girlfriend at the time and asked her about it, and she didn't like the idea because she felt that only girls would be watching me on camera. I started anyways, and that led to the break. When I wanted to come back from the break, she was not interested mostly because of the job that I was working. When I realized the potential money that was coming in, I was working on camera about 60 hours a week to start and fluctuated between 60 and 80 hours a week. I had no life, had no friends. I didn't care too much about my family, and I isolated myself from the world. I actually, instead of moving out slightly before I started camming, I converted my parents' 2-car garage into a man cave. I spackled the walls from the stucco. I put up a wall with a door. I put up tub liner to allow the garage to go over the wall. And that was my man cave. I had a fridge, toaster, microwave, my bed, my TV, everything that I needed. It was like a studio apartment, but I didn't really have to pay rent. Luckily, my parents were nice enough to not charge me rent. So after I started making decent money, I started looking into homes. And what I came across was mobile homes. And at first you think mobile homes, trailer trash, you're not going to like it, blah, blah, blah. So I found this home that was about 15 to 30 minutes from my parents. In a not so great area, but not so bad area as well. I know it sounds redundant, but it was in an area, it was mostly poverty and lower class, but it was a decent mobile home. It was only $32,000, and there was a mobile home rent fee, which was like between $600 and $700 a month, and covered taxes, trash and all this other stuff. So I moved there, which is me and Buster. So before I get into that, I want to say that I met Buster a little bit before I built that man cave, and I got him from Craigslist for $80, and he needed about $300 in vet work when I got him, and he was only 10 weeks old. So Buster made the move with me to the mobile home, and I would not have left my parents' house if I did not have Buster. He gave me the courage to leave. So I moved to this mobile home, but even though it's just me and Buster, I tend to get a little bit lonely. So my friend Will, I talked about in the part one, was going to move in with me at the mobile home, but decided that he was going to go to enlist in the Army. So Will ends up going, he doesn't leave for the Army yet, but he plans on going to the Army. So I put an ad on Craigslist looking for a roommate. It was a 2-2 mobile home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And I thought that I can have a female live with me, because I don't really want a guy that I'm not friends with to live with me and to trust them and the chance of stealing something. So the anticipation behind this was just to have somebody that I could be friendly with. Does that mean friends with benefits? No, friendly with. So I had a few girls contact me, and it was kind of crazy and hypocritical, because I was looking for somebody who was remotely attractive. And I didn't say, okay, maybe this could be something. That wasn't the plan of it. But at the same time, I was definitely looking for somebody who was remotely attractive. So after a few girls, I had one come, and she, was a little bit scared of my dog, dressed well, cute accent, Hispanic girl. And to be 100% honest, I had zero feelings for her at first. But then you start to live with somebody, and then you start to like that person, and then it became something. So after a while, her sister came to visit from Peru, and I was just being honest with her sister. I said, I like your sister, the one who's living with me. And she didn't really understand me. So eventually I told her, and what's crazy is that I was camming in the same house as this girl was living with me, but she didn't know what I did. So I would have like these curtains in this one area of my house, the mobile home, and she just had no clue what I was doing. So eventually I told her, and I explained it to her, and there was even a part after we started dating that we actually were on camera together, but it's something that we quickly expired because it was not great for the relationship, and we were faking it, and we weren't intimate with it, so it was definitely hurting it. And I don't like forcing people to do something they don't want to do either. So I end up, eventually asking her out, and we start dating, and then she has like these, I don't want to get into this too much because I don't want to be disrespectful to that person, because I'm still friends with that person today. But I'm just going to say that she was batshit crazy. Like, she thought that everybody and everything was out to get her. And she was crazy at the time. I mean, it was just going in such a bad direction. And then eventually I found out that she was not a citizen. And it hurt. It hurt because I didn't really know anything about it. I found out that she had a student visa that expired a long time ago. That she was driving a car with a expired plate that wasn't even for her, and that if she ever got a ticket or into an accident, this relationship would be over. So I rented out a room for $350 a month. She paid me for a couple months. We started dating. I said, you don't have to pay me anymore. So after a while, she pretty much said to me in this way, and I've repeated this so much. She said, if you love me, you will marry me. And at that time, I did not love her. I could love her. At that time, I did not love her. We're talking like 4 months into since I met her, and I just didn't love her. I've had sex with her, but I didn't love her. I love what I had with her, but I didn't love her. And something inside me said, go for it. Do it. Take that leap of faith and jump on it. Got married at a courthouse. Was legally married. And after that, I told her that I want to get us a house. I think that I make enough money that I can be able to get a mortgage. So we ended up renting a really large house. It was like 3,300 square feet. And it was on a lease to own program where after about 6 or 7 months, I spoke to my accountant who says, listen, if you want to qualify for the mortgage to afford this house, you have to make this much amount of money. And my marriage was every moment my marriage was struggling. I mean, she might not think that, but to be honest, it was struggling from day one. And my income was way down. So it was fluctuating a lot. And at that point, I was saying, there's no way that I can have this pressure on me to afford this house. I backed out. I lost $13,000. I think it was like $13,300 plus all the months that I paid for. So it was a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I also lost my security deposit because they didn't like the way we left the house. Lost a lot of money, and I tend not to fight for things, which is really bad because I should have fought for it. Even though I did break the lease, I mean, to get at least something back, because not only did I lose the house and had to give it up, I had to show that house, and I showed that house a lot, and I had to clean it up just to show that house. So we had strangers, I know it wasn't my house, but we had strangers coming in and out multiple times a day to show a house to sell. So it was rough. So the house value was $475,000, very expensive house. So that didn't work out. We ended up going back to my parents' house where we stayed there for a few months, and it was hell on earth. So at that time, we got a puppy. To go back to the previous relationship, I got that girl a puppy that she promised to take care of, and then her parents said no, and then I had to take the puppy, and I couldn't take care of the puppy and Buster, so I ended up giving the puppy to a better home. So that relationship in general was a big age difference, and the maturity wasn't there. I thought it was there, but it wasn't there. And she was a cheerleader, and she ended up liking somebody on her cheer team who was a guy. Did I think she cheated on me? I don't know. I'm not that type of person that cares that much, because if you did cheat on me, then that's it and life goes on. Most of the time, people don't want to cheat on me because they know what I can offer them sexually, and that it's not going to come that easy from somebody else. So most of the time, it doesn't happen. I never had an occasion where I'm like, okay, this girl cheated on me. I had a situation where I personally did something that I'm not proud of. To go back to it, I was dating a girl. This girl I dated for 4 months before that one. And we never had sex. This is before I lost my virginity. We never had sex, even though I wanted to, and she just didn't want to. She was a virgin at the time too. And after a while, she was just acting very different, and being immature as I was. I think I was like 16 or 17 years old. I didn't tell her I didn't want to date her anymore. And now if I don't like somebody, I'm very honest with them, and I'm saying, I don't want to date you anymore. I'm moving on. I'm going to start seeing somebody else. Not that there is somebody. I'll start seeing somebody else. So this girl, I went to my friend's house, me and my friend Courtney, who's the guy. We went to this girl's house, and there was this really pretty blonde hair girl. I liked white girls at the time. I don't know why, but a pretty girl sitting on the end of the truck, and we hang out and everything like that. And I thought this girl was so cute, right? And so we end up playing Truth or Dare, and I end up making out with both girls, and we were just really attracted to each other. And we never dated because this was another relationship where the age was just a huge difference, and she was afraid to tell her parents, and she had a really older brother, and I'm sure he wasn't too happy with it. So we like hung out at the other girl's house just so we could see each other, and it was just too much of that, and she was just too immature. When you date younger, they're always bouncing around. They don't know what they like or dislike one day. So that didn't end up working out. So let's go back to the marriage. I then stayed at my parents' house for a little. I then finally got a mortgage on a townhome, which was, a nice townhome, two and a half baths. Very, very small, but very well sorted out. So that was nice. And then eventually, a year later, I bought my first house. And the bad part about that is I had two mortgages at the same time. And that's when I think my depression really kicked in, when my bills were like between $6,000 to $10,000 a month. I was flipping out. It was absurd. So later on, we realized that this wasn't going to work out. There was a lot of things in my marriage that didn't work out. And we were on mutual agreement. We weren't like, hey, I hate you. It was pretty much that I told her that, she should spend time with her family. So she went back to Peru. And then when she went to Peru and I was here, I decided, I met somebody else. And not that she didn't look for anybody, but she wanted to spend time with her family. And we just agreed to be good friends. And we ended it on good terms. So that was, that was good without having to stress assets. She's not that type of girl that took assets. But I did buy her a brand new car, cash, and I said, this is for you. And I'm not that type of guy that like takes back things that I gave somebody. So I let her keep everything that she had. But it was hard on me ending it, because when you heard part one, you heard about my story with my family, and she was the person who was actually there for me and cared about me and took care of me. So that's what I look for. I know this sounds really weird, but I almost look for a mom in my girlfriends or a mom in my wife. And again, it sounds really weird, but that comforting feeling, because I didn't have that. So I look for it. I'm not looking for a mommy though. I'm looking for a girlfriend who wants to be a responsible and... Bella, I'm busy. Bless you. She just burped. Bella, stop. Okay. Please, go. So, Bella, go, please. So, let's go to the story of college and why I stopped going to college, because that was in the mix of my marriage, and there's a lot of things that went into my marriage, and I eventually stopped. So I started college before I started as a cam model, and being my parents are self-employed, their income is, one, not authentic to what they make, and two, they made an amount that was less than what it needed to get the FAFSA, which is financial aid. So I was paid to go to college, and I was paid a lot of money to go to college, a lot more than I actually needed. So I went to college, and I got, A's, B's, sometimes C's, mostly A's and B's. And I did, I think, 12 classes until I started making like 60, 70, 80,000 a year. And then after that, when I was going to reapply for it, I knew that there was no way that I was going to get that, that money again. But at the same time, I might have, because I was living I didn't even try, and I should have tried. This where the laziness kicks in, because I became lazy over time. And my dad's a very lazy person, so it rubs off on me. So at the end of the day, I did meet my wife on Craigslist. College, I stopped going to because it would have had to come out of my money. And once I was doing my work that I was doing and making what I was making, I just said that, there's people who go to college 4 years to make what I make right now. And it was nice money. It was good money, but I had to set aside money for taxes as well. So after my wife went away, I met somebody else through the Tinder application. Now, I'm a person who tends to meet people online versus meeting somebody in person. One, because I worked from home. Two, because I was no longer going to school. And three, I didn't, again, have a job. So there was no real way for me to meet somebody. I mean, maybe at the gym, but I don't really tend to go after girls at the gym because every guy tends to go to girls at the gym. And the gym girls aren't the hottest girls in the world either. So I did dating sites, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, Tinder, Bumble. So I did all these apps, and it's just a great way to get yourself out there, but it also doesn't really show you. It shows pictures of you and a little bit about me, but I rather be like vocal, like meeting somebody in person afterwards. But I'm just a very shy guy, and I just don't approach girls where I'm just like, hey, you're a very pretty girl, can I get your number? Like, I just don't do that because it just feels so generic to me. And number two, I don't want to be. What do you want, Junior? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss, Junior. I don't want to be rejected in person, and nobody does. I mean, there's some guys who could just go and be like, next girl, next girl, next girl, can I get your number? Can I get your number? And they're like, no, 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 and they still keep going. I mean, so that's crazy, but there are people like that. So another thing I expect in all my relationships is I expect the girls to be at the same level as I am. And with my wife, something that really failed upon was she didn't really want to clean after herself. She didn't want to clean the house. That was also her house. And she just wasn't self-motivated. I mean, she later on into the marriage got a job as a dance instructor. Now, at first, I was like, you know what? You don't need a job. And then after a while, we were together so much that I was like, maybe it's best she actually gets a job. So she got the job, and it didn't really, help the relationship whatsoever. So again, the marriage was about 5 years, but the good years were very minimal. I talked to her today, and there was a situation, a hiccup in our marriage, that she claimed that I cheated on her, and I'm going to explain what happened, because technically speaking, I didn't. But she said that was the turning point in our relationship, and she told me this like a month ago, and I was like, this is why you didn't want. She's like, yeah, I'm all in or it's nothing. So what you did broke my heart, and then I didn't love you anymore. And I was just like, wow. I thought it was a little bit of something else. But so when I was on camera, there was a girl who would watch me, spend money on me, buy me gifts, and she was my age. She was like, 22, 23, and it's funny. Oh, sorry, I got a message. And gave me the attention that I desperately wanted from my wife. But she lived in Chicago and I lived in Florida. And yeah, I did say stuff like, oh, my wife treats me bad. Oh, I want to be with you. Oh, I want to spend time with you. And I did say these things because I was hurting inside. And I looked to somebody else for comfort besides my wife. Plus, I was working. So I never met her. I never touched her. I never kissed her. I think I did speak to her on the phone before, and I did text her before, but I never had a physical, intimate relationship with this girl. And what ruined something, it was the day of our anniversary, and she knew about her, but she wanted to confront her. Because actually, there was the point, and I remember this even though this is like 4 years ago. There was a point where I told her that I cannot continue doing this. I have a wife. Things are getting better. And once she realized things were getting better in the marriage, she was like, no, 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 no. I'm in, and I'm in for the long haul. And she got and found my wife's Facebook, phone number, all this stuff, called her up, left her a voicemail, and it was one big, huge fight on our anniversary. It ended up with my ex-wife calling her up, telling her to leave me alone, telling her to stop ruining our relationship, and things went back to kind of normal after that. But according to my ex-wife, that was the big reason why we failed in our marriage. And do I think I'm right for doing it? No. I should have went to counseling. I should have went to marriage counseling and figured it out. But at the end of the day, I don't consider that actually cheating on somebody. I don't. Now, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying I should do it. I just don't consider that cheating. I don't. So, I met a girl after her on Tinder who was of Asian descent. And you guys probably seen her in my YouTube videos before. And I took her out to dinner, and I really wasn't that attracted to her. She was wearing a ton of makeup, which I don't really like. And I wasn't even going to call her up again. And then I decided to. And then I saw her without makeup, and she had like the perfect skin. And I was just like, wow. I was like, okay. But then, as a personal trainer, she was a bit overweight. And I was like, maybe I can get her into fitness, and she'll want to be fit because her future boyfriend is a personal trainer, and he has a training facility at his place. She can work out in my place. So that never really happened. I mean, she did lose a little weight, but she always felt like I was trying to change her. Was I? Yeah, but for the best. It wasn't like, hey, you need to fix your face and get facial surgery. No, I was trying to help you lose weight. So she was a person. Our relationship lasted, I think, almost a year. And she lived with me pretty early as well. If you heard, my ex-wife lived with me from day one. Now, this other girl that I met who was Korean, she lived with me pretty early as well, because when I started talking to her, she had an apartment in Gainesville. She was going to school in Gainesville. So she would come here for 2 weeks, go back there for 2 weeks, come back. She wasn't even in school anymore. She was just still with that apartment. She was a person who pretty much got everything from her parents, who was living in California, used to live in Palm Beach, and didn't really tell them anything or tell them the truth. And eventually I said to her, instead of coming back and forth, how about you live with me after we started dating? And she did. And that's when everything went wrong. She was very, very lazy, didn't clean up after herself whatsoever, didn't want to get a job, and we were just 24 hours a day with each other. She didn't have her family because her family was in California. She didn't like to really, even though she says that I told her that she can't see her friends, I suggested for her to see her friends, and she would never go. She's like, all I want is you. All I need is you. And I don't mind that. I like when somebody really wants me and needs me in their life. But at the same time, I feel like she needed to breathe, and I needed to breathe. And that doesn't mean I wanted to see somebody else or anything like that. It's just we needed our space from each other. So after a while, she just started changing and getting mad all the time and getting sad all the time. Oh my God, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Come here. You're a pain in my ass. You're a pain in my ass, my love. What? Can I talk for 5 minutes without you? I love you, but you pain. Okay, down. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. You know Bella, she needs her attention. So this is part 2. There is going to be a part 3 where I continue this, because this is mostly about my relationships and who I was with. So I got another 7 minutes to finish this off, and then I'll go back to talking about more of the heartfelt stuff. So with the last girl I was with, the Asian girl I was with, I was attracted to her physically, but a lot of the stuff that she did turned me off, and I realized that this is not what I want for the future. So one day, there was multiple times that I broke it off, and I told her like stay with your friend for a few days because I'm not having this. And eventually there was a point where I just lost it. And I said to her right to her face, I said, I do not want to be with you anymore. This is not working out. I want to see somebody else, and I'm breaking up with you. And I was very honest. I was very straight to her face. And she ended up going to California. And I just wanted to be her friend. And she didn't want that at all. She said, either you're dating me or I can give two shits about you. And that was it. You know, I tried. Not only that, she left about half her stuff in my place and said, do me a favor, just throw it out. How can you tell somebody to throw away half your stuff? Even to this day, I would give her her stuff if somebody came pick it up because it's still here. So I'm not just going to throw it out. I feel bad. So that stinks. So now to my last relationship, which started about a month ago. I met somebody right after she went to California. And I didn't have anybody in mind when I broke up with her. It's not like I broke up with her for somebody else because I didn't do that. But I met somebody who was a little bit younger and a lot younger than me. And I made a video about age. And the reason I said it before, the reason I like younger is because a little bit less experience and I can be a guidance to them instead of having them like, oh, I'm always right, blah, blah, blah. They're more inclined to listen, right? But at the same time, you don't want to take advantage of somebody. And that's where I look at as it. So I met a girl who I care deeply about, but she's a complete opposite of the last two. And you might say, well, isn't that what you want, Jake? And it is and it isn't. I want a middle ground. I don't, and you know, you might say, don't you want a woman that works? Yeah, I do. But I want a woman that works, that wants to be with me, like live with me. And now you might say, and I don't want to make this mistake, is letting somebody live with me too early, right? Because you don't want the same thing to happen with the last two. So, guys, stop. So I try to avoid making the same mistakes, but I also don't shell myself off from what I had before. So I still do want somebody who's willing to take care of me and be with me. Do I need somebody with me 24 hours a day? No, I don't. But when I'm in a relationship with somebody, I tend to put them before myself, and then my whole life revolves around them. That's how it works. So I've met somebody who likes to work out like I work out. That's a big plus. When I first met my ex-wife, she hated working out. After a while, I got her into it, and then she loved it. But she would never work out with me. She would want to work out by herself. And that's fine. I don't mind that as long as you take care of your body. That's all that matters. So the girl that I met is very young. And it's a good and a bad thing. It's good because it's almost like a fresh slate. It's bad because I can tell she's very scared. She's very scared because of previous situations that happened to her. She's scared because I might just stop liking her one day and then she has nothing. But I rest assured that everybody I'm with, I try to leave as best as I can. So if things don't work out, I don't disappear and hate that person or take back everything that I gave them. I leave them with their experience. Like when you break up with somebody, even though I was married for 5 years, I don't regret it and say that was a waste of time. Even though I dated this Asian girl for a year, I don't regret it and say it was a waste of time. Nothing's a waste of time because everything can be a learning experience. And I learned from it. But at the same time, I still have those tendencies that I want certain things from certain relationships. Like, I love attention. Who doesn't, right? What do you want? Give me a kiss. No, sit down. These dogs are nuts. So, I got 2 more minutes before this is the end of part 2. I just got, there's constant miscommunications currently in my relationship, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean I want it to break off. I've been talking to this girl for 3 months before I actually asked her out because I didn't want to rush into a relationship. And now I'm kind of, once I'm in the relationship, I'm kind of rushing to start something because the situation that presented itself is hard on me because I'm actually talking to somebody who's very close with their family, where the last one, their family lived in California, and the wife before that, her family lived in Peru. So they didn't have a real close experience with their family where it was taking time away from our relationship. Now, I don't feel anybody should be away from their family. I respect family because it gives you guidance. It gives you a place to go if things aren't working out or if there's a fight. When I had a fight with my ex-wife, guess where she went? Nowhere. When I had a fight with my ex-girlfriend, guess where she went? Nowhere, or to a friend's house. So, but most of them didn't really have friends. And here's the deal. Like, I don't care that a girl that I'm with has friends. I care that a girl that I'm with has a bunch of friends who are bad influences. I do not like people who are bad influences. That is the biggest turnoff. If you're like, if I was with a girl and she's a follower, that's the biggest turnoff for me, and that's just what I don't want. So I hope you guys enjoyed part two. Part two is going to be called Love Life. There's a lot more details that can go into it, but I'm not going to stay here for an hour and talk about it. So part three will be more, heart-filled about different things, about lack of birthdays and not hanging out with friends and tons of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching part two. I'm Jake, and this is the story of my life.